Welcome everyone, thanks for joining us for today's episode of Canal Days. As always, I'm your host Carrie, along with my co-host, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Colon. Our Canal Days series delves into the vast collection of historical sites throughout Massachusetts, with Robert's expertise of the local history as our personal guide. Each episode we uncover history throughout local communities, and today's episode of Canal Days will be concerning Jewish cemeteries of Springfield, Massachusetts. So, can you define the City of Home Cemetery of Springfield, Mass?
Yes, and we're going to go through the four cemeteries located directly in Springfield, Massachusetts. This one was a social club that started in 1902. It's not a synagogue. It's the only one not associated with a synagogue. And that includes the four out West Springfield that are associated with Springfield. It's a social club, but this is common in the Jewish faith, but it's not common in Catholic or Protestant, where a cemetery starts up around a social club instead of synagogue. Very unusual in other religions, but in the Jewish faith, it's actually pretty common, especially out in the Midwest. So it started as a cemetery in 1918, and by the way, that 1902 social club still exists within Springfield. Now, to find it, it's one of the three that are on Wilbraham Road near Delmar Street. And it has a really cool gate because instead of just being a small little gate, they made it look like the whole entire front of a house. And then put a cool sign above the portal area, City of Homes Association. And it's a rounded door top. And then inside, it has lots and lots of gravestones from that point onwards. And it also has an entablature inside of the two sides of the door area. And I don't know what they mean, but they're in Hebrew. But inside you have lots of wonderful stones, so at that point it becomes a very typical Jewish cemetery, and centered around a social club.
And can you detail the Kesser Israel Cemetery?
Alright, so the next cemetery we were into is the Kesser Israel Cemetery. This one here, the Kesser Israel actually started in the year 1900, but the cemetery started in 1909, both in Springfield. So, this one here also is one of the three on Wilbraham Road near Delmar Street. This one here has a mausoleum devoted to a rabbi. His name is Solomon Besson. And it's a very well-constructed mausoleum. And, of course, Kesser Israel Cemetery is associated with the Congregation Kesser Israel, which had a nomadic existence for a long time up to 1966, where they had it in houses. And so you might expect that the cemetery would be a little disarray. It's not. It's very well structured, a nice green space down the middle, and all the stones face each other, a typical lawn-style cemetery. And the mausoleum is a highlight of all three of these cemeteries, and it makes it quite unique.
And stick around, we'll be right back after this quick announcement. Are you fascinated by local history and eager to investigate the obscure treasures off the beaten path throughout the state of Massachusetts? Or maybe just seeking an unforgettable cultural activity for family and friends to enjoy? Look no further than Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, founded by Robert Colon. With over a decade of experience, Robert offers captivating tours and presentations of historic sites and landmarks throughout the state. Whether you're interested in canal cemeteries, charming churches, and more, Robert's tours provide a unique and enriching experience for all. And that's not it, you can also schedule private tours tailored to your interests, ensuring a personalized adventure and unforgettable memories. Perfect for families or groups of all sizes, making an exciting hands-on learning experience that brings history to life. Next, we have the Sons of Israel Cemetery. Can you describe that for us?
Yes, this is another Springfield cemetery where the synagogue Sons of Israel started up in 1902, but sometime in 1970 went out of existence. The cemetery itself started in 1927, and it's one of the ones on Wilbraham Road near Delmar Street, and it has a big, I would call it almost like a chapel. Where the other two had big gates, this one has a big chapel. And it doesn't have a big dramatic gate, so it's a very small gate. So quite different from the other two. It does have on its left portal for its gate area, the year 1927, and then a Hebrew inscription, which hopefully I can read someday. But it's also in a lawn-style cemetery, where there's a little bit more space between the gravestones, I noticed. So maybe here there were some husband and wife team that are on the same gravestone compared to others where it's not. There's a children's section in the front right, and that's usually where the babies are buried in Jewish cemeteries if they die very young. And again, this is one of 3 cemeteries on Wilbraham Road at the same point, Delmar Street, Sons of Israel. With the other 2, we've gone through City of Homes and Kesser Israel.
And can you recount the remaining Jewish cemeteries among Springfield and their locations?
Okay, so that's a big question. Well, there's one more cemetery in Springfield. It belongs to a congregation that was started up later in 1932 called Congregation of Sinai Temple. The cemetery started in 1948. That's very late on. And it's located on Cottage Street in Springfield. And now there's 4 more cemeteries that belong to synagogues that are based in Springfield. And those cemeteries are now in West Springfield, where they had a lot of land. And that includes Kodomo Cemetery, which is out in West Springfield. And then it includes Temple Beth El's Cemetery, which is out in West Springfield, right next to the Kodomo. And then it includes the Beth Israel Cemetery, which is very old. It started up in 1892. It's the oldest Jewish cemetery in the Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts, for Jewish, of course. And for that reason, it was the first of the set of 4 cemeteries out there that had its land divided up into 3 more Jewish cemeteries. And Beth El is the one that has a temple out in front of it. All right, and then there's the B'nai Jacob, which started in Springfield, has a synagogue moved to Long Meadow. Its cemetery is in West Springfield itself. Okay, and it's very well taken care of location. Has a nice sign out front with its name, and a lot of its stones are spread out also. So that's it for the Jewish cemetery associated with Springfield.
And thank you for listening to our episode on Jewish cemeteries of Springfield, Massachusetts, and joining us on our journey through the rich history of the Connecticut River Valley. We hope you enjoyed uncovering some of the hidden and overlooked marvels and their fascinating stories that shaped our past and the state of Massachusetts. A special thanks to Robert Camus, founder of the Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, for sharing his passion and expertise with us. Remember, you can find more information about Robert's tours, book private tours, and explore the Canal Days video and podcast series at holyokecanaltour.org. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to turn to our next